Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Matthew Andrew, Reiki practitioner, transcendental meditation teacher, coming to you from Nimea Kaya, a Ayahuasca retreat in the Peruvian Amazon jungle. So this is just going to be a brief introductory video, a little bit about myself, just to give you a little insight as to where I'm coming from and where I'm currently at. A little bit about me. As you can see, I'm currently in the Peruvian Amazon jungle, but I was not raised here. I was raised in the United States, in Iowa. Great upbringing, lots of nature around. But, you know, come the graduation of high school, I needed to take off and see more. So, you know, I traveled around quite a bit, living in the cities, San Francisco, New York, Tucson, Arizona. I lived in Massachusetts for a while. But my primary residence for 23 years was Chicago, where I was trained as an actor and was involved in the acting scene in Chicago theater for 15 years. Met many beautiful people and created many beautiful projects, and was a real eye-opener for me in that world. I grew up very introverted, very much struggled to communicate. So to me, acting was just initially just a way to come out of my shell a little bit and to learn more about myself, the world, and the skill and technique of acting. And so I just couldn't be more grateful for those experiences. While in Chicago, I also started creating artwork as well. So I spent some time in the art world. Much of my artwork came from, you know, while doing all of the acting and the artwork, the foundation of really what my interests were, you know, I began with yoga and started very much incorporating yoga into my daily practice, meditation into my daily practice. This was all around 20 years old. I began doing all of this. I practiced Buddhism for a while, Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism, who I learned from a female boxer, Lucia Riker, while I was in Los Angeles for a brief time back in the early 90s. Many of you might know Lucia as a flyweight champion of the world, but that's another story. So I chanted the Buddhism for a while. I spent, many years in deep meditation. I had a very not strict, but a very passionate meditation practice where I was attempting to project into the astral plane, and all very natural, right? No meat, no coffee, no caffeine. So yeah, very much trying to raise the frequencies within my system to allow me to project into the finer vibratory states of existence. I was very passionate about learning about the other dimensions and what I perceived as the invisible, that the invisible was there. I just needed and was trying to sense those in different forms and through different techniques. So very active in my 20s and 30s, and but while all that's going on too, I was struggling always mightily within living in some of this reality here, seeing all of the troubles in the world and not understanding why I wasn't more successful in some of my endeavors, and had great success, but was still struggling, wanting more and greater experiences and all of that. And there were, it all sounds grand up to this point, but really the underlying theme, a lot of what I was experiencing was I wasn't sure I wanted to be here anymore. You know, this world was very difficult for me, and suicide was always in the background of my thoughts and being, and you know, it was something I considered many times, and just always thinking, okay, well, if things get too rough, I can always take myself out. So that was always in the background while I was always pursuing my creative endeavors. And so fast forward a little bit, in 2007, I was speaking with a friend, and she had been in Brazil, and she brought up this thing called ayahuasca. And she told me a little bit about it, and I always thought that sounded very interesting. She told me she had what she was known as a death experience, and being a Scorpio myself, very interested in death and rebirth and all of that. So I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. And be careful what you wish for sometimes. But years passed, and in 2018, I was very much struggling in my world. The acting and the art world didn't and weren't paying the bills. I was serving tables and bartending. That's how I've always earned my money, as a server in restaurants and bartending. And I was running out of steam to earn money that way, and I was quite depressed, and anxiety of, as I was getting older, what am I doing? And still the suicidal thoughts were prevalent. And so in 2018, I was going down the rabbit hole of a YouTube binge watching one day, and ayahuasca popped into my feed, and started watching videos, started watching testimonials, started watching people express their experience with the medicine. And I made the decision that I thought ayahuasca might be able to help me. And you know, I had experimented with therapy, and even did some medicine, antidepressant medicine, briefly, because ultimately that just didn't feel very good to me. So in 2018, I scheduled my retreat at Nimea Kaya Healing Center. Had done some research and narrowed it down to Nimea Kaya and another place, and just felt this was the place to be. One thing I didn't mention was that during that time of my metaphysical exploration, I learned transcendental meditation, and I became a Reiki practitioner. Just some tools to help me navigate these times, and also tools that I could then give to others. Reiki, a beautiful technique that I was able to help other people with, and through that technique. So I came to Nimea Kaya, and you know, just briefly, and I'll go into more of my ceremonial work in later videos, but my first ceremony, within the first 2 hours, just magical and profound benefit from that first ceremony for me was, it became very clear to me in that ceremony that, you know, suicide was not a choice for me. It was not an option anymore. It almost seemed ridiculous, and I just realized the profoundness of my life, and that I can navigate and handle anything in this life. And so instantly, right there, suicide left my conversation in my head, and it hasn't returned since. I know that's not a choice for me, and if no other benefit from the ayahuasca, I mean, what a more profound benefit than to receive, than to feel good that that is no longer an option. So right away, boom, everything changed for me. So I had just an incredible retreat, 4 ceremonies, changed my world in many ways, in ways that I wasn't even aware that were going to come up. But also, during one of my ceremonies, a volunteer helped me in a particularly difficult moment. And I just made a note of that. And when I left Nimea Kaya, I knew I wanted to come back here and volunteer and give back to people what had been given to me. And I had some skills of teaching meditation and to be able to do Reiki for guests. So I went back to Chicago, navigated some of that world, and realized I wasn't very content in the city, in the vibration of the city. And so in 2020 of February, I came back to volunteer at Nimea Kaya. And of course, we had a couple retreats early in 2020, and then COVID hit, right, and the world shut down. And so I spent a year in the Peruvian Amazon jungle, me and about 8 to 10 other people. And I continued to integrate what I had learned during my ceremonies a couple years prior. And I also was able to continue to work with the medicine during lockdowns. And so I just couldn't have been more grateful. Instead of being stuck in a one-bedroom apartment in Chicago with fear surrounding me, I was in the beautiful Amazon jungle with love and peace. And really felt that the universe was looking out for me to put me in this position. So I spent all of 2020 here in the jungle, went back to Chicago in 2021 to incorporate some of the things I learned, and spent a year back in Chicago working with some of the things I was needed to integrate into my life, to change my life. But while back in Chicago, I started to, I wasn't able to practice the Reiki and teach the meditation during the 2020 because we weren't able to get guests. So I knew I wanted to come back in 2022. And so I came back to Nimea Kaya in 2022 when we were able to receive guests again. And I was able to practice the Reiki and teach the meditation, and just an immaculate time sharing conversations with people from all over the world regarding the metaphysical world, regarding ayahuasca, meditation, just like-minded people exchanging ideas. And I couldn't tell you how beautiful it was to see people come closed off and in a place I was back in 2018, and to see people come in and go through their 9-day retreat with 4 ceremonies. And when they would leave, the opening that was in their heart, that was in their eyes, it was just very rewarding for me to be part of that. And I really felt like I was, in my natural environment, being able to help to talk with people and just to be with people as they go through their stuff. People come here to help heal and release many traumas and programmings that have been instilled within me, within us as a collective. And so people come to release that. And went back to Chicago in 2023, or not Chicago, I went back to Iowa in 2023 and was working in a restaurant and just didn't feel the connection I was trying to incorporate. But ultimately, I'd come to the conclusion that I'm meant to be doing this work in nature, and wanted to be doing this work in nature. And so now I've returned to Nimea Kaya in 2024. And this channel is just going to be about interacting with you and sharing with you some of the experiences and lessons that I've learned through drinking ayahuasca. And also to share with you, should you want some tools moving forward, if you would like to learn transcendental meditation, or if you would like to receive distant healing Reiki sessions, I will be here in the jungle and you'll be in the comfort of your own environment. So I would be more than honored to be able to pass those tools and those healing sessions on to you. Should you choose, you can contact me through my email, which you can find below. And we'll be talking all things ayahuasca, Reiki, transcendental meditation, healing, other healing modalities, and anything metaphysical You know, any comments you have, please, any ideas, anything you want to share, leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe to my channel if you feel like this is a journey you want to go on with me. But I just couldn't be more honored to have you listen this far. This went a little longer than I had planned, so if you've listened to this far, thank you. And yeah, we'll talk up the road, okay? Take care now. Bye-bye.